everybody, it's Rob from Man Sewing, and I'm super excited today to present our tutorial. It is the easiest quilt I think I've ever made. We're calling it the Slice-A-Block, and we're basically going to handle one block at a time and just inset a 1.5 inch strip. So this is really fun for me because the fabrics we're using today are from Studio E. It's called Peppered Cottons from Pepper Corey, and Pepper is a longtime friend of mine. Pepper, I hope you love the quilt we made out of your fabrics, right? Oh, and then of course you'll also need your 1.5 inch skinny strips from Robert Kaufman. This is just a solid black and there's a bazillion of them. So the prep work was next to nothing for today's tutorial, right? So as we're working, we are going to create independent individual blocks by cutting down a 10 by 10 and inserting, as you see, just one strip of black. We're going to make all of our blocks at once, and then we're going to the design wall or design table, however you like to work, and we're going to randomly organize our blocks and then stitch them back together. Super, super easy. So all I need to do today is show you how to make that block. Let's get started, right? So I'm going to take one of my fabrics and I'm simply going to make a slice. Now, I say it's simple, but let's think a little bit because we are going to eventually trim these down to 9.5 inch squares. So I really don't want you making your slices right at the edges. Give yourself about a 2 inch perimeter from either edge. So I'm going to take this, and it doesn't have to be a straight cut. It can be, as you see behind me, an angular cut. If you're new to quilting, keep your angles a little bit less because it gives less stretch while you're sewing, less bias. So ready? I'm going to slice here. And now my approach is I'm going to bring one of those strips that I had from the roll, and I've already been playing with this one, it's a little short already. Cut off your selvage. Again, if you're new to quilting, never use your selvage in your quilting unless you're making an all selvage quilt, but we'll get to that, not today. Then my other trick is I don't start right on the edges because when I open this up, it may not quite make it. So I'm just going to cheat a little bit. We have plenty of these black 1.5 inch strips. Okay, so I've just cheated a little bit past the beginning, and I'm going to go over to my machine and we're going to make a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And this won't take long. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to head over to my iron. And I'm going to press this seam like this. I guess I'm pressing it into the dark strip, although I don't know if it was really all that important, but check your colors. It may be. You don't want to get that bleed through. Now I'm going to bring this right back over, not even trimming my tail yet, and I'm going to match these up. So I'm making sure it is a square and not some sort of a rhombus or something like that. So make sure it's a square again, or a rectangle technically, because we've added an 1.5 inches in there. I'm going to bring this strip right over here, or this chunk, onto my strip. And I'm visually looking at the tips of the fabric here, but this is why we're going to trim down to 9.5, so you don't have to worry, but do spend a moment and make sure you are as lined up as possible. Another 1/4 inch seam allowance. Pepper Corey was actually one of the very first demonstrators I ever saw the first year Michael Miller Fabrics was out, and she had done a really neat kind of tone-on-tone neutrals line and gave a fantastic presentation. Went on later to actually design fabric for the same company with Pepper, so this is really fun for me to get to work with one of her newer lines. Okay, now before I even bother ironing, at this point I'm going to go ahead and remove that tail. We're going to be able to use that for the next block again. Now we're going to press back into the darks. Let's get some good quilt management going. So I'm going to hold that seam up like that and then set it. The black fabric has a little bit less give than the peppered cottons. It's got a really nice texture on it. So you might find that the seams, like with working with batiks, are going to kind of do what they want to do. But give your best there. And now what we're going to first do is we're going to clean up these outer edges. And I'm just giving it a slight trim at first, but it will set for my true. Okay, so I've cut this edge here, just like that. Now we're going to rotate it. And now I'm using my square, and I'm coming over here, and I'm looking at 9.5 on that side. And I want this as square as possible. it is important that all your blocks are the same measurement. That way you can put them together in any fashion you like. And it is important that they're squares and not rectangles so that you can rotate them in any fashion that you like. So that's my first set of 9.5. Now let's do the other side. Again, trimming from my short side first. And I'm actually lining up my line up here on my block. Slice, rotate, and now 9.5 inches again. Just like that. Double checking the top, the bottom, so this is going to be a nice square block. Except for I hit the ruler. And away we go. Okay, so it really is that easy. We've cut these down into our 9.5-inch squares. And as you see, I've done that for each and every block, like I said, so we can customize and creatively organize our fabrics. So, as I said, all of your blocks, make them all, get them all pressed, and now the fun begins because you're just going to go through and start manipulating the layout. And if you look at the quilt behind me, we like to use what we call the Maverick block, that oddball block, that man sewing guy block, right? So at any rate, look across this row here, and you'll notice this black strip is heading different than the others. Reminds me of Sesame Street, right? So you come across here, and in each row, I tried to make one of those kind of a Maverick block. The other thing I was doing is I was trying to make sure, like in this section, I would not have rotated it so that the black came through and then followed. Notice almost none of the black lines touch when you're working throughout the quilt, and that just kind of keeps it random looking and a little bit more organized actually. Then from that point, these fabrics are wonderful for your free motion machine quilting. You have a lot of wide open space, very few seam allowances. So if you haven't tried your own free motion machine quilting, I'm going to encourage you, start on this quilt. It's going to be fantastic. So once you have all of your design put together, I added my 3-inch borders. That's the black strips you see over here. And then I put my backing down and then my batting down and the quilt top. I like to use curved safety pins to baste it all together. That keeps it all nice and secure. And then I just go over to my standard sewing machine and spend some time doing my free motion machine quilting. And we're working on some quick tips right now for you to give you a little bit more about the knowledge of the free motion machine quilting and the body mechanics behind it. So that is the Slice-A block, high caffeinated mode today at Man Sewing. I hope you love it, and we'll see you next time.